The Great Gatsby was written by F. Scott Fitzgerald and first published in 1925. The book is set in the 1920s, a period in the United States known as the Jazz Age. This was a time of economic growth, big parties, and changing social rules. Many people wanted to get rich fast and enjoy life. Fitzgerald himself was part of this world, and he used his experiences to write about the glamour and problems of that time. The novel takes place in New York, mainly in the wealthy areas of West Egg and East Egg, and it explores themes like wealth, love, dreams, and social class. It also shows the contrast between the old money families who inherited their wealth and the new rich who made their money quickly but lacked social acceptance. The story is told by Nick Carraway, a young man from the Midwest who moves to New York to work in the bond business. He rents a small house in West Egg, which is where the new rich live, people who have recently made money but do not have the same social status as old money families. Next door to Nick's house is a huge mansion owned by J. Gatsby, a mysterious and wealthy man known for throwing extravagant parties every weekend. People from all over New York attend these parties, but very few of them actually know Gatsby. Some believe he is a spy, others say he once killed a man, and rumors about him never stop spreading. Nick quickly learns that Gatsby is famous, but no one really knows much about him. Eventually, Nick is invited to one of Gatsby's parties, where he finally meets the host. Gatsby is charming, but secretive, and he seems deeply interested in Nick's connection to his cousin, Daisy Buchanan. Gatsby and Daisy were in love before the war, but when Gatsby went to fight, Daisy married Tom Buchanan, a wealthy and arrogant man who comes from old money. Now, Gatsby has built his fortune and bought a mansion across the bay from Daisy's house in the hope of winning her back. Every night, he looks at the green light at the end of Daisy's dock, which symbolizes his dream of being with her again. Gatsby believes that if he has enough money, he can make Daisy love him again and erase the past. Nick becomes friends with Gatsby and helps him reunite with Daisy. At first, Daisy is nervous, but soon she and Gatsby begin an affair. Gatsby believes they can go back to the way things were before, but things have changed. Daisy enjoys Gatsby's attention, but she is not ready to leave Tom. Meanwhile, Tom is also having an affair with Myrtle Wilson, the wife of a poor gas station owner, George Wilson. Tom does not respect Myrtle and only sees her as a way to escape his boring marriage. He lies to her, telling her that he will eventually leave Daisy, but he has no intention of doing so. Myrtle, on the other hand, dreams of a life of luxury, but she is trapped in a marriage with a man who has no power or money. One day, everything comes to a climax when Gatsby, Daisy, Nick, Tom, and Jordan Baker, a professional golfer and friend of Daisy, go to New York together. In a hotel room, Tom confronts Gatsby. He tells Daisy that Gatsby is not from a respectable family and that his money comes from illegal activities like bootlegging. Gatsby begs Daisy to say that she never loved Tom, but she cannot do it. She admits she once loved Gatsby but also loved Tom. Gatsby is heartbroken, but he still believes Daisy will choose him. He thinks that she just needs time to leave Tom and come back to him. On the way back home, Daisy is driving Gatsby's yellow car when she accidentally hits and kills Myrtle Wilson, who had run into the road. Myrtle had just fought with her husband and had mistaken the car for Tom's, thinking he had come to take her away. Daisy keeps driving, leaving the scene of the accident. When Tom arrives, he finds George Wilson devastated by his wife's death. Tom cruelly tells Wilson that the yellow car belongs to Gatsby. George, believing that Gatsby was both Myrtle's lover and her killer, decides to take revenge. The next day, he finds Gatsby in his swimming pool, where Gatsby is still waiting for a call from Daisy. Wilson shoots Gatsby and then kills himself. Nick is left to deal with the aftermath. He tries to arrange a proper funeral for Gatsby, but almost no one comes. The people who once enjoyed Gatsby's parties disappear, and even Daisy does not send a message or come to the funeral. Gatsby's father arrives, grieving the loss of his son and showing Nick an old book where Gatsby had written his plans for self-improvement as a young boy. This reveals that Gatsby had always been a dreamer, someone who believed in creating his own future. Nick becomes disgusted with the shallow, selfish people of East Egg and decides to leave New York. He sees how Tom and Daisy simply go back to their privileged lives without any consequences. Before he leaves, he reflects on Gatsby's dream and how it represents the American dream, the idea that anyone can achieve success through hard work. But in Gatsby's case, his dream was based on an illusion. He wanted to recreate the past, but the world had moved on. In the end, Nick realizes that Gatsby was one of the few people who truly believed in his dreams, even though they were impossible. He describes Gatsby as someone who was always reaching for something just out of reach, much like America itself. The novel ends with the famous line, "So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past." It suggests that no matter how much people try to move forward, they are always pulled back by their past. The idea that success and happiness can be achieved through wealth is proven false, as Gatsby's life ends in loneliness and tragedy. The Great Gatsby is a story about love, wealth, and the failure of the American dream. It shows that money cannot buy happiness and that the world of the rich is often empty and cruel. Gatsby's dream, like the green light at the end of Daisy's dock, is beautiful but unreachable. Through Nick's eyes, we see both the beauty and the tragedy of Gatsby's life, making this novel one of the most memorable works of American literature. It is a novel that explores the illusions people create and the reality that often crushes those illusions. Fitzgerald's masterpiece is still relevant today, as it shows the dangers of materialism and the emptiness that can come with chasing an unattainable dream.